final walkthrough. Hoku. Here's the studio, empty. Hoku, did you enjoy living here? There's so many art pieces in here. So many plant tours here. Wow. You ready for the next chapter, honey? Hey everyone, this is Jolene. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to an update. So it's been over 30 days since I shared with you guys my big life update, not only for myself but for the channel, and I wanted to hop on here, especially now since it's overcast but still over 100 degrees in Las Vegas, to come outside and give you guys an update on what happened with me over the 30 days. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing me and stick around, because in the next upcoming videos I'm going to be sharing with you the handful of plants that are in Las Vegas, and I'll give you guys updates and the reason why they are here and in the collection. So give this video a big thumbs up, and I hope you guys enjoy hanging out with me on this update. So the first thing I want to talk about is just the process of getting, I don't want to say getting rid because it sounds very sad, but letting go of the collection. And before any of my subscribers question what happened to their plants that they gifted me, do not worry. They're either with me or one of my plant friends, and I will eventually get it back. So with that being said, let's talk about Santa Monica and the process of 30 days of not only physically moving everything into a 5x10 storage in Las Vegas, which is 1 mile from here, and half of my storage, now that it's done, I did it about a month ago, the big move. I now know that half of my storage is Jewel of Hawaii and my small business. So I really did use this time and new chapter in my life to really let go of a lot of things, and that includes a lot of the things that I collected or purchased in my plant life and my plant journey. So I hope if you guys are going through the process of letting go or minimizing your plant collection, know that you are not alone. And I really am still waking up to this day wondering, how did I get to this point in my plant life and just life in general? So with that being said, let's talk about the Santa Monica studio. And honestly, it's been like 11 days since I completely moved out and just here in Las Vegas. But because I've been doing the back and forth for 16 years, it doesn't seem like I don't have my place in Santa Monica. It feels like I'm going to drive back and do the whole routine again. And it's starting to drizzle, but I want to be out here for this video. So let's see how the weather goes. But it hasn't settled in yet that I am here and the Santa Monica chapter is closed, at least for now, because I feel like over the 16 years since I left Hawaii, I always seem to go back to Santa Monica. Whether I'm living full-time in Vegas, I end up going back there at least full-time or part-time. Even when I was in the Bay Area for a little bit, I always seem to go back to Santa Monica. So we'll see. I just know that if I'm in the US mainland, Santa Monica, California is definitely my mood and my aesthetic, where if you guys watch the vlog channel, you guys know I'm always at the beach with Hoku. It's dog friendly and active life, and everything there is just me. So we'll see if and when I ever do return to that part of the world. With that being said, I will not go back into a space where I spent 7 years of California life. The studio at the time served its purpose, and as I was packing up things and getting rid of things, in the beginning, you know, I was doing my Pilates certification program. It was great. I did a lot of plant content in there, regardless of the tree over the patio, regardless of the rodent problem, the neighbor problem. and the weather problem. And then in my last year there, which I physically wasn't there the last 2-3 years, it just was kind of going downhill with just a physical place without the big tree over the patio, and me trying to get some kind of covering and shade for the plants in the patio, and with the construction of the roof and painting of the roof, everything just kind of got destroyed. And I honestly like kind of silenced this part of my mind from being upset about losing a chunk of my collection in the last year, whether it's from any of the damages from the construction or too much sun or the bad weather, and just like these things are out of my control. So I don't want to be too hard on myself for letting that happen to the collection. It is what it is. But with that being said, moving forward now and in my next chapter of my life, I decided that I know eventually in time I will settle somewhere back in the States, whether it's here in Las Vegas or in California. I really am open and just not really stressing about it too much, just kind of letting things happen for me naturally. But I know that in the future I will settle down back in the States, and I would want to have a chunk of my collection with me. So I decided to have my plant friend Sonia, which she's been on both of the channels before. She is a previous Pilates client of mine. She's a subscriber, and she's just now like one of my grandma's best friends, and she's really close to us and spent a lot of time not only with me and grandma, but with Ebby and with Hoku. And she just lives just a few miles away from where I was in Santa Monica, and she spent a big chunk of my plant life journey with me doing all these plant shopping. So I asked her if she could plant sit a chunk of my collection, and I also gave her a bunch of my plant babies to just have. So with that being said, I want to just get straight to the point. Which plants I know for sure I'm going to get back? The Sansevieria collection, for the most part, 99% of the Sansevieria collection is with Sonia. There's a few here, and I believe the ones that I kept here have been living in the collection here, but there was a chunk that was here that I took back to California to have her plant sit. I also noticed that like selling plants is very hard. I think if I went to a plant show or someplace specific where there's plant nerds and plant enthusiasts, I could sell my plants at a timely rate and also for a price that I felt like is fair, not only for me or for the person who's buying, and not feeling like I'm getting some kind of plant loss, and also having someone appreciate the plant itself. Because from my experience getting rid of the plants that I felt like I was able to let go of, a lot of the people who were looking into buying my plants were not plant people, so they didn't have any experience with plants or felt excited about the plant because they were not plant people or plant collectors, enthusiasts. So I think that was like my first problem, and I gave myself a lot of time to let go of plants, whether it was trying to sell them off or figuring out who to disperse them to. I do have to say that my plant friend Tanya got a handful of plants from me. My plant friend Anya, she's also a Pilates instructor, or was. She didn't want any of my plants, but Tanya did get a handful of my plants. And my really close bestie Kellen, which she's been on the vlog channel before, she was my first roommate 16 years ago in Las Vegas. She is located 1 hour away from me in Santa Monica in the valley. She got a handful of plants. She's not a plant person, but she has her own place with an outdoor space, and it's still Southern California, so I let her adopt a handful of plants. So hopefully she'll be okay with that, because a lot of them I had for like 8 years, so I'm hoping everything will go well with her. And as well as here in Las Vegas, there's at least 20 something plants in my best friend's Jessica's 1-bedroom apartment, which I'm kind of nervous about because she also travels a lot for work. She lives in 2 states like me, and the weather here in Las Vegas is very hard, so we'll see how it goes. And I'm always there to also water the plants and stuff, so it's nice that I was able to give her a handful of plants. Now let's talk about the plants that are with Sonia. I said the Sansevieria collection is with her. My big Hoya, my compacta, which I had for many years, it was one of my prized plants in my collection. It really struggled along with a bunch of my plants in the patio without shade. You guys know, you watch the channel, you guys are plant people. Plants like shade at some point of the day, right? So I'm hoping under her care the compacta will get back to its full potential. So the compacta is there along with majority of my Hoyas. I want to say there's a handful of Hoyas that are here in Jessica's apartment, but for the most part a bunch of Hoyas is with Sonia, and I will get all of them back. I will get all of them back. A lot of my rare plants, all of my plants that I got from Florida, I will get back from Sonia, so she has those as well. And including my 2 variegated monsteras, my Elbow and my Thai Constellation. I did put that up for sale, but I feel like maybe I didn't put it up for sale in a website or app where plant people are shopping or looking out for specific wish list plants. But I felt like I was pricing it too cheap, and then people wanted to like offer even a cheaper price, and I was like, you know what, it's fine. If I can't sell it for like the cheapest price, I'm willing to let it go, then it's fine. So Sonia has the 2 variegated monsteras that I will eventually get back. So yeah, a lot of my rare plants, my Hoyas, my Sansevierias, all of my epiphyllums are with Sonia, and I will get all of them back. And she's also been drying blooms over the past years for me and my small business, so I feel like if a bloom does pop up for her, she will preserve it, and she's the best person for that in regards to caring for the plants. So with that being said, what did I give? Let's talk about who and why I gave what I gave. So out of the handful of plants that I gave Kellen, and I know this video is all over the place and I'm still trying to sort it out in my mind, and I'm doing that as I shared with you guys, I ended up giving Kellen my bird's nest fern, which I've had for 8 years. It was really hard for me to let it go, but I felt like, okay, she's in Southern California, she has a yard, hopefully that fern will do well. I was really sad to let that go, but that was one of the plants that I gave her, along with a bunch of plants that were part of a mother plant, like my peperomias, my pothos, and my Pilea peperomioides. Like, I gave a bunch of propagated babies to her so that she really wanted a part of my collection, so I just made that happen for her. But one of my biggest plants I gave her was my bird's nest fern, which you guys seen in my plant tour collection videos in the patio. So that is now living in Altadena, California. And speaking of ferns, Tanya has my other fern, which is my elkhorn fern, which was on my brown gate of my entryway to my studio. I had that fern since it was a baby, so it's probably about 8 years or so old. And you know, the cool thing is that Sonia and Tanya do have part of my big Monstera George, which I'll talk about in a second. So I feel like, you know, I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, if George Jr. is now like living and thriving in their home, I'm okay with letting them have the rest here and there of the collection. So she has my big elkhorn fern, which I don't know. I told her if she wants to, she can transplant it and maybe like have it on a tree because I feel like it's time, you know, it's time to get it out of that. I have it in a setup where I feel like it's constricted, and I feel like if it was on a tree then it can grow larger. So I hope she does that. And I also gave her one of my beloved euphorbias, my Moroccan mound, which I had from like a little baby. It was living in like a teacup planter that I got here, and also I got the plant here, and now it's like really huge. So in the future, if I wanted to, I could easily get a cutting from her and she can keep the mother plant, vice versa. I'm okay with that. She has given me, you know, a bunch of plant cuttings in the past, and I've also shared it with some of my subscribers on the channel, so it's okay. And she got a bunch of other plants, so I'm okay, you know, like I'm okay. Talking about it is helping me like move on and like heal from this era of my life. And now fast forward, like with Jessica and the collection here, she has a bunch of my Cressulas. She has a ZZ Raven that one of my subscribers gave me. She has a bunch of my Hoyas, and she has some of my Ripsalises and some of my Pothos, which I'm kind of worried about. And then she has a bunch of cactus in her patio, but I feel like Las Vegas is really, really hot to have cactus outdoor, even like in this condition. So we'll see how it goes. I'll check on them throughout the month to see how they are doing. And the hard part is, it's like we're both going to be out of the country next month, and we were talking about this the other night when I was over at her place, like who's gonna water the plants. Jessica and I are worried because now that she have a chunk of my collection and we both travel, her and I are both going to be out of the country next month. She's going to be in the same country as me, but she's going to be on a tour, and also she is going to be traveling for work after. So for the most part, for the month of September, she's not going to really be around in Las Vegas. I'm not going to be here, so we're worried who's going to water the plants. So TBD and all of that, but she does have a chunk of my collection. And in the next video, I will share with you the plants that are living here and the reason why I shared, and the reason why I decided to keep them physically here in Las Vegas at this house. Now let's talk about a handful of plants that went to people who I am not connected with. And I will start off with some of my, okay, I had a round prickly pear cactus that I didn't transplant because of the fine pricks on it. I was really scared to touch it. I had it for many of years, and my neighbor in front of me in Santa Monica, they've just been there since December or so. They were seeing me in the process of like moving plants, and so they asked me like, hey, is there any plants that you don't mind me having? So I said, look, if you want this plant, you can have it. I'm scared to touch him. He's very old though, but if you want him, you're more than welcome to have him. Like, I think I purchased him for like $75, something like this. Still doing great. I just never transplanted because I'm scared. He took that plant along with my Aeonium that was in my chicken planter that my subscriber many years ago in Arizona gifted me. So that went to my neighbor, and I think he took like 1 or 2 more plants. And then his roommate seen him bring up plants, so then he came and asked me if I could have if he could have any plants, and he ended up taking my Aeonium that was like really dark in color, and I think he might have taken like 1 or 2 more plants. So I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I mean, that was like a lot for me because I purchased those plants with my own money. I have a huge love for Aeoniums, but okay. With that being said, what were the plants that I sold? Somebody came over to my place to look at my dresser. She didn't like it. She ended up like asking me if I had like a side table for sale. I showed her one that I had. She bought it. As she was leaving, she was like, hey, how much is this plant? And it was like my Carousel Aeonium, and I was like, okay, if you want it, you can have it for this much. And she ended up taking it. So okay, one aeonium went to this stranger that I don't know. And last but not least, my two largest plants in my collection, my red Congo Ruby and my big Monstera George, which I can't believe I'm saying this, but somebody messaged me and wanted to come and take a look at my plants for sale. He came, I was here in Las Vegas at the time, so it was through a video call, and my grandma had closed the sale, and he basically took both of them. He wanted other plants, but I was not willing to let them go for such a cheap price, and I felt like George is definitely worth 5 times more than what I let him go for. But he is so large and big, and I really didn't want to burden Sonia with keeping like George Sr. with her when she already has like George Jr. with her, which is really doing great. So I decided to let George and my red Congo Ruby go to this random person who probably lives like 10 miles away from where I was in Santa Monica, and he said that he would keep their names. So I'm happy about them. I'm going to hopefully somebody who can keep them alive, because he was not a plant person, but he did message me after he got them home and said, like, you know, asking me about how to water them and stuff. So hopefully they are in good hands and they will do good with their next plant parent. So that's kind of where it's at right now with my plant update. I want to film a whole separate video sharing with you guys the plants here and giving you guys an update. It's been like 10 days since they've been here all together, newly grouped, and in my room, and I want to be able to really like sit down and share with you guys like the plant updates and the reason why I decided to keep them. So stick around for the next video. I don't know if I'm gonna film all 25 plants in one video, or I may break it down into like 5 videos with 5 plants each so that you guys get multiple videos. I may do that so that the video is not very long. But with that being said, I will be leaving the country in a month, and I will figure out in the meantime what kind of content I want to transition this channel to, I guess, in the meantime, until I start filming plant content again, or who knows where this channel is going. But I know from the comments that you guys are wishing me lots of luck, and you guys are willing to stick around regardless of what kind of content I put on this main channel. And if you haven't watched the vlog channel, check it out. You know, it was very hard this past month to do any content or editing with me moving. If you guys ever moved, you know it's not very easy, and on top of that, I've worked every day, so bear with me. But Hawaii content is going to come up, part of my Egypt content is going to come up, and I'm going to be vlogging the whole month of August as I gear up to leave the country, and that'll go all on the vlog channel. So that is my life update, plant update, and I hope you guys are excited to see me on the channel again and knowing at least a general idea of the collection. And yeah, to the subscribers who gifted me plants, do not worry, they're either with Sonia or with me, and I will eventually get all of the plants back. I at least want to put it out there because I know you guys are probably worried about what happened to the plant that I gifted her. Like, where is it? She's getting rid of the collection, she's moving. At least I can give you guys that update. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me in the thick of summer here in Las Vegas, and it was just like, it was like the right time to come out, because as you can see, it's overcast. Even if it's 100 degrees, it's very hot to be outside here this time of the year. And I will do maybe a 5-part series of the 25 plants that are here in Las Vegas. So until then, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It encourages me to keep going with this channel. I do not want this channel to die or be silent, and it feels like a part of me, my plant life me is still alive when I get to do these kinds of videos. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for supporting me, and I will see you very soon. Subscribe to this channel and Jewel of Hawaii, the vlog channel, and keep up with me on my social media on Instagram. Until then, aloha from the 9th Island, Las Vegas, Nevada. Bye guys. Also, PS, for the furniture that was in my patio, it pretty much all got thrown away, which is so sad to say. My wicker vintage set, I had the city of Los Angeles pick that up. My Tiffany blue table that I painted, which I did a lot of my plant videos on, somebody picked it up for free, I think. The chairs that was there also, I left it back. My greenhouse, it was living in my storage, but it was like very hard to store, so I ended up just donating it. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, yeah, no comments, don't judge me. And all of my plant supplies, all of my planting supplies went to Sonia to use, and she did have a lot of my planters to keep, but also I did sell a lot of my planters in Santa Monica and here in Las Vegas, and I do have a handful of planters here in Las Vegas still up for sale, because as you guys know, planters are also expensive as well. So totally forgot to mention that. But plant supplies and plant things also take up space, take up money, take up time, and if I can just sell the rest of the planters that are still for sale here in Las Vegas sometime this month, I'll be proud of myself. But it's definitely time consuming. So I hope this gives you some kind of motivation, or know that you are not alone. If you are transitioning in your plant life, just give yourself some time.